Hello, my name is Shelby West. I am a folk potter for the most part. I grew up in Crawford County, Georgia, which is about, 20 minutes southwest of Macon. And basically that's the reason I got into pottery, is from where I grew up in Crawford County. In the 1800s, I guess from the early 1800s all the way up to probably 1930s, it was one of the largest pottery centers in the state of Georgia. And if you know your, I guess it'd be your geology kind of classes, you know, the fall line runs across Georgia, kind of diagonal from around like Augusta, Edgefield, South Carolina, down through Macon, all the way down toward Columbus. And on that line, which like basically bisects Crawford County, there's a lot of clay. You know, one half the county is clay, the other half is sand. So a lot of the potters from that era, you know, they all migrated to my county because there's a lot of clay available. That's basically, you know, the most important ingredient that you had to have, you know, was clay, and then also a lot of pine trees because they all wood-fired the pottery. And that's how I kind of got into it. We used to dig around these old pottery sites in the woods when I was a kid. We'd find, you know, thousands and thousands of pieces of broken pottery, jugs, churns, pitchers, all the stuff that they needed, you know, in the 1800s to survive. You know, they didn't have Tupperware, they didn't have refrigerators, you know, stuff like that we, you know, take for granted nowadays to preserve food. So it's kind of a necessity, and nowadays a lot of that Crawford County stuff is pretty expensive if you collect it. I've seen pieces go for, you know, $20,000 at auctions that the guy that made it in the 1800s probably, you know, sold it for, you know, 3 cents, you know, 5 cents, you know, something ridiculous like that. But that's how I got interested in the pottery, is from the history of it. And then I found out how much this stuff was going for, which was a lot of money. And I figured if I made it the same way, use the same materials, you know, wood fired, I built, you know, kiln, then people could, you know, own some of that stuff without having to pay the huge dollar amounts that, you know, if you bought an original piece. So that's how I kind of got into it in high school. The first pieces I ever made were in high school in art class, probably just like most of you guys. Did a little bit there. I went to college up in Rome, Georgia, at Berry College, and I didn't major in art or anything because they wouldn't let me. I played baseball, and I couldn't do baseball and art at the same time, so I have a degree in horticulture. But I did work at Camp Windshape. I was director of pottery, and we did, you know, stuff with the kids, and we experimented on glazes and clays and all kind of stuff, just, you know, trial and error. So once I graduated from there, ended up building a kiln here in Adairsville, a wood burning kiln, and I think y'all have a video of that too later that she may show. But I built a treadle wheel when I was at Berry, and I do everything the old-fashioned way. You know, dig my clay. I have a clay mill here at my house, a hammer mill to grind up clay. I have a wood burning kiln that I built, and I use alkaline glazes, which is just basically sand and ash and clay. It's very, very low tech. There's a lot of work involved in it, but that's about the only way you can get the kind of stuff that I make. And one of my favorite pieces, I don't have any favorite piece that I made because all the stuff that I make, I sell it, so I don't keep it. But the favorite old piece I have is probably this piece here. This is, if you can see this is one of the first pieces I ever bought myself when I was in high school. This is probably made around the 1880s. Just an old whiskey jug, really, but they probably could have put milk in it too, I guess. But it was probably a whiskey jug is what they used it for. But it's just special because it's the first one I ever bought and invested in, and this is how I kind of, you know, strive for my glazes to turn out and to look this way, because these things are pretty you know, valuable these days, because these guys aren't making them anymore. You know, they're all dead, so, you know, it's probably the closest we can get. But that is about it. That's how I kind of got into it, and I hope to keep doing it as long as I can, if my back holds out. I'm just kidding. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed that, and if you have any questions, write me a letter. See ya.